Is indeed good medicine. Carrie Manley explains.
39-year-old Donald Hill has had AIDS for the past 3 years. He says he's always dreamed of being an artist, and now he is, thanks to the Center for AIDS Services in Oakland. Here, Donald has a place to draw and paint every day.
It just makes me comfortable and I'm more at peace. Having
free art supplies is especially important for Donald since he lives solely on Social Security disability.
$729 a month. And then after you pay your rent, after you pay your bills, after you do all that, there's hardly anything left.
At the Nexus Gallery in Berkeley, some of Donald's work is now on display, along with the creations of dozens of other Bay Area artists who are also HIV positive. Some of the pieces here deal directly with having AIDS. Others are more abstract, but exhibit organizers say all are a therapeutic symbol of self-expression.
To be able to display this and exhibit this, and for somebody else to come by and buy it, it is so, it's utterly, they're just so proud of this. They're so utterly proud of this.
This art exhibit runs from now until July 25th. Donald says creating art represents a powerful escape for him from the loneliness that he says sometimes comes with having AIDS.
I have my plants, I have my goldfish that I talk to the TV set, you know, but there isn't a lot of company. There's not a lot of, you know, love. I thought my family would understand, but they just don't.
Donald says it's only when he's creating that he can forget he has AIDS. He says it is his most special time, a time when he feels truly free. Carrie Manley, Eyewitness News.
As little or no hope of recovery can leave a person often feeling lost and alone. It's a feeling that becomes common sometimes to those who face AIDS. But in Oakland, there's a very special place that helps many face that feeling. Bob McKenzie reports.
Human beings have always found solace and peace and inspiration, and sometimes joy, in creating works of art. People in this class at the Center for AIDS Services in Oakland find all those things, but they also find release from the aspect of AIDS that can be the hardest, the sense of being alone. Everyone here carries the AIDS virus, and most have been ill for years. Some have had almost every mean, painful, exhausting illness in the AIDS arsenal. But often what hurts most is being cut off from work, from social life, from the feeling of being a part of things. For some, making a sculpture or painting or a piece of jewelry helps fill in some of the holes the disease tore in their lives. Don Hill worked as a salesman for 13 years at Emporium Capwell. He has had AIDS for 3 years, suffers from painful lesions and numbness and weakness. Working on a painting gets his mind off his illness.
You have to live. You know, you can't focus on dying. You have to focus on living with AIDS, not dying with AIDS, because once you tell yourself that you're living with the disease, then you get stronger.
Carrie Campbell isn't sick at all yet. She was homeless for 1.5 years, fell in with bad company, shared needles. When she decided to straighten out her life, she went in for a physical checkup. She tested positive for HIV. That was 2 weeks ago. The shock is still fresh. She says it helps to be around so many friendly people.
It's really tough. I'm having a lot of trouble, like, trying not to deny it, and there's a lot of stress involved, and it's really frightening, and sometimes it's like you're dizzy and you're out of your body. It's like everything's just a dream. It's tough, but I'll deal with it.
Some in the class have art training and some haven't, but all have their work on display at the Nexus Gallery in Berkeley. Edward Seidel works in masks and in scratch drawings. Until AIDS took away his hearing, he managed a restaurant.
When you're used to working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, you know, and you've been doing it for 10, 12 years, it's part of your life, and you enjoy it. And when you get to the point where saying, well, you can't do it anymore, and you're still young, it bothers you. For me, you lose yourself in the reality of your art. And it does, it really helped me, that and communicating with other people. To me, that's more of the class does for me.
The feeling of hope, the feeling of excitement, it's really wonderful to see people living with the disease, really living.
Artist Sharon Siskin started the class 2 years ago. In that time, many of her students have died.
It's really hard when somebody dies. Some people like to talk about it, other people don't want to talk about it at all.
Myra Huff has had a life that would have broken most women. Divorced by her first husband, she married another man who had AIDS, but didn't tell her about it. She's divorced again and very sick. In her art pieces, she works out her feelings about what has happened to her.
I mean, I was very angry and couldn't express myself. You know, I wouldn't tell anyone how angry I was at first, and then I found the center. And, you know, they have everything you need, support group, and individual counseling, and the art, which has been the most important thing to me. So I've dropped a lot of that anger.
This class is funded by the California Arts Council and, like everything else in our state in these days of tight budgets, is in danger of being cut back or disappearing. But while it's here, it gives these people something to do, something to think about to lift them out of their everyday difficulties and all the other things that art has offered people throughout the ages. In Oakland, Bob McKenzie.
On Pocahontas Island. The sorrow and pain of AIDS is fueling the work of some Bay Area artists who are HIV positive. Their art is on display in a special show called About Time. As Channel 7's Bev Michalonis tells us, many of the artists are women.
The artwork portrays beauty and optimism, sadness and anger. It comes from artists living with HIV disease and is now on exhibit at Berkeley's Nexus Gallery. For many of the women whose work is displayed here, the creative process is as important as the art itself.
It keeps me sane, and being sane is a big part of the defense against HIV.
It's a positive release of my energy.
The one on top is called Cold Day in Hell.
This artist, who chose to remain anonymous, has been living with HIV and then AIDS for the past 10 years. She says the disease has totally changed her perspective on life.
The healing that I get from doing this work, from being in the moment with the colors and the passion, keeps me alive and energized.
Carrie Campbell learned she was HIV positive just last year. Her work portrays the frustration of coping with the disease and its treatment.
I went to the doctor one day and they could not find a vein after 4 or 5 tries, and I don't like needles at all, and that's what that was all about. And then the pill painting is the AZT one. I kept wanting to throw up, and I don't do that, and I'll allow myself to, and so that was kind of a vicarious vomit there.
When the Positive Art exhibit began 5 years ago, there were no women involved. This year, of the 50 artists displayed, 12 of them are women. The exhibit was sponsored by 4 Bay Area AIDS organizations and funded by the California Arts Council. Susan Gartland, who found out she was HIV positive during pregnancy, made one picture for her daughter.
The message about the picture is that we both found out together, only she was on the inside of me and I was on the outside of life.
While most of the artwork is for sale, these artists will tell you it's the message that holds all of the value. In Berkeley, Bev Michalonis, Channel 7 News.
And a reminder that exhibit is happening at the Nexus Gallery in Berkeley through next Saturday.